Before we begin, take a moment to get comfortable. Let your arms go heavy, your breath slow. And as you listen, feel free to leave a comment sharing what time it is, where you are, and what city or village you're listening from. It's love to know. And if you'd like more quiet stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe so they gently appear when you need them most. Now, let's begin. The moment you drift into sleep, your mind begins to soften its edges. Thoughts blur, memories loosen, images fold into one another. Yet, even in this blur, there is order. Hidden beneath the strangeness of dreams is a geometry that repeats, like the lines of rivers, like the branching of trees, like the spirals of seashells. Your sleeping brain follows patterns that nature has always known. Close your eyes and imagine a river scene from above. It curves gently, then splits into smaller channels, then joins again in meandering arcs. The river does not flow in straight lines, bends and repeats, carving shapes that feel inevitable. Now imagine the mind as you dream. Thoughts do the same. They branch, they merge, they meander. The pathways of your neurons, like rivers, can trace geometry into your sleep. The dream may seem strange, a corridor turning into a forest, face appearing in a cloud, but beneath the strangeness, its structure, hidden geometry guides it. Think of clouds, still formless, but if you look longer, you see repeated shapes, fractal edges, swirls that echo swirls, a rhythm that continues no matter how closely you peer. Dreams are like this too. They may seem chaotic, but if you step back, you notice repetition. Spaces recur, places return, quarters stretch into patterns that repeat endlessly. Chaos and order coexist in clouds and in the drifting shapes of dreams. In forests, geometry whispers again. Branches split into branches. Leaves arrange themselves with symmetry. Each tree grows in its own way, but all follow the same rule of repetition. And so too with thought. One idea splits into another. One memory divides into fragments. Dreams echo this fractal rhythm, branching endlessly, turning force into symbols of mind. You are never far from nature, even in sleep. The geometry of sleep reveals itself in other ways too. You may walk in circles as planets circle stars. You may climb endless staircases, spirals repeating like shells in sand. You may hear waves in the background of your dream, their rhythm identical to the rhythm of your brain's own electrical tides. Nature writes the world in patterns, and your dreams, though private and intimate, are part of that same script. Science sees this hidden geometry in the brain itself. Electrodes placed on the scalp reveal rhythms, alpha waves, theta waves, delta waves. Each stage of sleep has its own pattern. Cage wave repeats, rising and falling like tides. The same mathematics that describes the sea describes the sleeping brain. The same curves that mark a seashell mark the firing of neurons. Geometry does not stop at the edge of the body. It continues inward, into thought, into sleep. Pause for a moment and imagine yourself drifting in this geometry. You flow through a dream corridor, the walls repeating in symmetrical patterns. Cue turn, and the corridor becomes a forest. Branches split above you, but the rhythm feels the same. You keep moving, and the forest becomes a spiral staircase, leading upward forever. The images change, but the pattern continues. It is geometry unfolding itself again and again in the fabric of sleep. There is something comforting in this, because it means dreams are not random chaos. They are part of nature's repetition. Your brain, even in its most private wanderings, echoes the design of seas, forests, clouds, stars. You are never separate from the world. Even in dreams, you are connected. Geometry is not only shape, it is also rhythm. The heartbeat is a rhythm. The inhale and exhale of breath is rhythm. Waves breaking on shore are rhythm. In sleep, these rhythms continue. Your heart beats slower. Your breath deepens. Your neurons fire in measured pulses, okay? And from these rhythms, dreams arise. The shapes you see in sleep spirals, circles, branches are carried on rhythms of pulse and breath. They are the music of biology woven into imagery of mind. Even recurring dreams are part of this. When you dream of the same place again and again, you are witnessing the geometry of memory. Your brain loops like a circle, spirals through recollection. It branches into variations. The dream is not stubborn. It is patterned. It repeats because repetition is nature's favorite language. Pause and imagine your dream as a painting. At first, it seems abstract. Lines overlap, colors blur, figures half appear. But if you step back, you see rhythm, you see balance, you see geometry holding chaos together. Dreams are this way. They appear strange, but beneath them is design. The hidden geometry of sleep is not invented by the brain. It is borrowed. It's borrowed from rivers, from forests, from stars, from seas. The brain is part of nature. It uses the same rules nature always has. When you dream, you are not creating from nothing. You are echoing the world. There is humility in this truth, because it means even your most private, most intimate inner life is part of something larger. You are not separate from spirals in shells, from branches in trees, from circles in atoms, from waves in seas. You are those things repeated again in dream. And so, as you drift tonight, you can know this. The geometry of sleep is not random. It is not meaningless. It is part of a deep pattern, a hidden order that binds you to the earth. And from this hidden geometry, you begin to notice one of its most beautiful forms, the spiral, a shape that curls through shells and galaxies, through staircases and dreams alike. The spiral of the shell and the spiral of the mind. Asterisk, the spiral is among the oldest shapes in nature. It appears in seashells, in whirlpools, in the arms of galaxies, and in the smallest patterns of unfurling ferns. And it appears in your dreams. Close your eyes and drift inward. Perhaps you are walking through a corridor that bends. It curves, gently, then more tightly, until you are circling a center you never reach. Or perhaps you dream of climbing stairs, each turn folding into another turn. Each step part of a path that feels endless. These are spirals of the mind, echoes of seashells and galaxies drawn into the architecture of sleep. The seashell holds this pattern most beautifully. Snail's home, a conch on a beach, the chambered nautilus curling into itself. Its spiral is not random. It follows a rule of growth, adding chamber upon chamber, always in proportion, always in rhythm. When you hold a shell in your hand, you hold mathematics made visible. You hold the quiet geometry of life, and when you dream of spirals, your mind is borrowing that same geometry. It loops thoughts the way shells loop chambers. It repeats corridors the way galaxies repeat their arms. The spiral is both nature's memory and the mind's imagination. Think of whirlpools and rivers. Water circles downward, faster near the center, slower at the edges. The spiral forms not from intention, but from flow. It is what water does when guided by gravity and spin. The brain, too, has flows. Electrical currents ripple across its surface. Thoughts gather momentum. Dreams spiral inward, turning around memories, around fears, around desires. The spiral is not decoration. It is function. It is how energy organizes itself, whether in rivers or in minds. In sleep, the spiral often feels endless. You walk hallways that curve without conclusion. You climb stairs that never arrive. You return to the beginning again and again. It can't feel strange, okay? But it is only the spiral reminding you that the brain loves repetition, okay? That it curls experience into itself the way shells curl growth into their chambers. The spiral is not limited to shells and stairs, okay? It is also written in galaxies. Lift your gaze into night. and you see arms of stars coiling outward, spiraling from centers unseen. The Milky Way itself is a spiral. You live inside a curve so vast that it cannot be walked, only imagined. And yet, in dreams, you may wander its corridors, spiral staircases that echo galaxies, spiral shells that echo neurons, spiral thoughts that echo memory. The pattern repeats. The spiral is everywhere. Pause and imagine holding a knotless shell. Its chambers curl outward, each larger than the last, yet each connected to the center. Now imagine your memories, day, too, curl outward from your earliest self. Each chamber a stage of life, each turn a new experience, each one linked to the center of who you are. When you dream, you walk through these chambers, some familiar, some forgotten. The spiral of memory becomes the spiral of dream. Science finds spirals in the brain itself. Its cortex folds in curves, spirals shaping the surface so that more fits into less. Even electrical activity can spiral. Waves of neurons firing in rings, patterns of thought curling like shells. The spiral is not metaphor alone. It is anatomy. It is the very structure of how you think. Dreams borrow this structure. They loop because the brain loops, spiral because the brain spirals. The mind is drawn to the curve, as though it recognizes itself in the shape. There is comfort in the spiral, because it suggests connection, that the shell on the shore, the galaxy in the sky, the dream in your mind, all follow the same quiet rule. The universe repeats itself. It curls into spirals wherever it can. And you are part of that curl. In dreams, the spiral often holds mystery. Why do you walk in circles? Why do you return to the same place? Why do stairs never end? But perhaps the mystery is not flaw, but comfort. The spiral never ends because nature never ends. It continues outward, inward, always repeating. Dreams echo this truth. They spiral because life spirals. Pause again. Imagine drifting down into sleep tonight. A hallway appears. You begin to walk. It turns. It turns again. You feel yourself looping, but you are not lost. You are inside a spiral. It is the seashell. It is the galaxy. It is the neuron. It is the memory. The spiral is the language that connects them all. And from spirals, another pattern emerges. One that branches instead of curls. One that spreads outward instead of inward. Branches in forests. Branches in rivers. Branches in neurons. The spiral is nature's curl. The fractal is nature's branch. In your brain, like the trees, carries. This pattern too. The spiral is one of nature's favorite shapes, but it is not the only one. If you step into a forest, you see another pattern unfolding. Branches dividing into branches. Leaves unfolding into leaves. This is the fractal, the rhythm of repetition that builds the living world. Fractals are patterns that repeat at every scale. A branch splits into smaller branches, which split again into twigs, which split again into veins of leaves. Each part looks like the whole. You see it in trees, you see it in rivers, you see it in lightning, you see it in the brain. Close your eyes and imagine a tree. Its trunk rises steady, then divides into branches, each one reaching outward, each one splitting into smaller parts. Now, imagine your thoughts. One memory divides into another. An idea splits into a detail. A dream expands into scenes. Part connected, each part repeating the rhythm of the whole. The forest is not separate from you. It echoes within you. In dreams, this fractal rhythm often appears. You may walk down a road that divides into two, then into four, then into many. Each choice feels like another branch. You may explore rooms that mirror themselves, one leading into another, each smaller, each repeating. Dreams copy the fractals. Rhythm. They branch into endless possibilities. They split into paths that feel familiar, yet multiply without end. Science shows that the brain itself is fractal. Neurons branch like trees, axons splitting into terminals, dendrites dividing into countless twigs. At the smallest scale, your brain looks like a forest. And when you dream, this forest comes alive. Pause and imagine yourself walking through an actual forest at dusk. The branches above form lace against the sky. Each shape is echoed in smaller shapes. The forest feels infinite, though it is finite now. Imagine the same within your mind. Your neurons fire, their branches connect, their signals spread like lightning through trees. Dreams bloom in this forest of thought, branching, splitting, repeating. The geometry is the same. Fractals in the forest, fractals in the brain. Fractals carry efficiency. A tree grows this way to reach sunlight more fully. A river branches this way to drain water more completely. The lungs branch this way to carry air deeply into blood. The brain branches this way to connect thoughts widely. Nature chooses fractals because they work. They are not only beautiful, they are necessary. And so, when you dream, your mind repeats them because thought, like breath, like rivers, like branches, is a fractal process. In art and imagination, fractals appear again. Carpets, mosaics, temples, cathedrals, many carry repeating patterns, each part mirroring the whole. Perhaps humans built this way because the brain itself is fractal. Perhaps we recognize the rhythm because it already lived inside us. And when you dream of endless corridors, infinite forests of choices dividing into choices, you are simply returning to this rhythm. Fractals carry a sense of infinity because each part contains smaller parts which contain smaller still. You can imagine the pattern going on forever. This is why dreams can feel endless, a path that never stops branching, room that repeats into rooms beyond, thought that splits into thoughts forever. It is not chaos. Key, it is the fractal speaking. Key is nature's rule of repetition written into your sleeping mind. Pause and think of rivers. From the air, they look like branching trees. The main channel is the trunk. The tributaries are branches. The streams are twigs. Water follows the same rhythm as wood, and so does electricity in the brain. Signals flow like rivers, branching through neurons, splitting into paths, joining again in deltas of memory. The fractal is everywhere. Tree, river, lightning, lung, neuron, all repeating themselves, all echoing one another. In dreams, you may see lightning. It splits across the sky, its branches sharp and bright. Perhaps it is not lightning alone. Perhaps it is also the brain showing you itself, its neurons firing, its thoughts sparking, its fractals revealed in imagery of storm. Dreams borrow these shapes because they are written into you. There is comfort in the fractal because it suggests belonging, that the forest outside and the forest within are not different. They are reflections. When you dream of walking in woods that never end, you are walking your own neural branches. When you dream of rivers splitting into rivers, you are tracing your own thoughts. The fractal repeats, outside and inside, in nature and in dream. Science measures this too. Brain scans show fractal patterns in electrical activity. The rhythms of sleep are not smooth, but jagged, branching, self-similar. The dream is not a straight line. It is a branching forest of possibilities. Your neurons are trees. Your thoughts are rivers. Your dreams are fractals unfolding. Pause once more. Imagine standing in a clearing. Around you, trees rise. Above you, branches spread. Around those branches, smaller branches grow. And if you look closer, you see the veins of each leaf repeating the pattern again. Now, close your eyes. You see thoughts spreading, memories branching, dreams unfolding. Its pattern is the same. You are both forest and dreamer. You are both branch and thought. Fractals remind you that dreams are not random. They are nature borrowing itself again, a repetition of the outside world within the world of mind. And from fractals, another pattern emerges. Not spirals that curl, not branches that divide, but ratios that balance. The golden ratio appearing in seashells, in sunflowers, in galaxies, and, quietly, in imagination, it is the next rhythm of dreams. Asterisk nature favors certain proportions. Among the most mysterious, most whispered about, is the golden ratio, a balance found in spirals, in leaves, in galaxies, and, quietly, in the way imagination arranges itself in dreams. The golden ratio is simple in numbers, yet profound in effect. Roughly 1.618 to 1, a proportion between part and whole that feels harmonious to the human eye. Painters and architects have used it. Bees unknowingly build with it. Sunflowers unfurl their seeds by it. Seashells curl according to its rule. Is not always exact, not always perfect, but it is everywhere a tendency, a preference of growth, a natural balance. Close your eyes and imagine a nautilus shell. Its chambers spiral outward, each larger than the last, yet each in perfect proportion to the one before. The curve is not arbitrary, it follows the golden ratio, curling forever outward in balance. Now, imagine walking through a dream. A hallway stretches, then opens into a room. The room feels proportioned, not square, not random, but balanced in a way you cannot name. This, too, is the golden ratio. Your mind, even in dream, leans toward balance. In gardens, sunflowers reveal the same preference. Seeds spiral from the center, arranging themselves so that no space is wasted, each seed nestled between others in near-perfect ratio. The result is beauty, a pattern both efficient and harmonious. Dreams borrow this feeling. Even when images are strange, their arrangement often feels right. A staircase that seems endless still feels balanced. A face that shifts in dreams still holds symmetry. The golden ratio hums quietly beneath the surreal. Artists have long intuited this. They use proportions that echo the golden ratio because they feel natural, pleasing, complete. Leonardo sketched it. Architects built cathedrals by it in nature, grew forests with it. Your brain, shaped by nature, recognizes the same. And when you dream, your imagination arranges scenes with this quiet geometry. It is not conscious, it is instinct. It is the golden ratio of imagination. Pause and imagine. A dream where you stand before a doorway. The frame is tall and narrow, yet the proportions calm you. Beyond it is a staircase curving upward, spiraling in perfect balance. You walk, and the steps feel natural, as if your body already knew the distance. This is the golden ratio at work, a pattern borrowed from nature, repeated in dream. Science, too, finds traces of this. Studies of visual perception showed that the human mind responds to certain proportions with ease. We prefer rectangles shaped near the golden ratio. We linger on images balanced by it. It feels familiar, as though our brains were tuned to the same rule. Dreams may seem irrational, but they lean into these same preferences. A corridor too narrow feels wrong. A room too wide feels strange. But a scene that echoes natural proportion feels dreamlike, yet calming. The golden ratio is a comfort woven into imagination. Think of galaxies. Their spirals curl outward in ratios that echo the same rule. Stars whirl in balance, vast yet familiar. Now, think of your thoughts. They too spiral outward, expanding from a center of memory into imagination, into dream. The galaxy and the mind both carry balance within. There is mystery in this repetition. Why should seashells, sunflowers, galaxies, and dreams all share the same quiet rule? Perhaps Because the golden ratio is the most efficient way to grow, to arrange, to unfold dreams. Though not bound by physics, borrow this efficiency. They feel balanced because the brain prefers balance. They feel harmonious because harmony lives in nature. Pause again. Imagine walking along a beach in a dream. The waves leave shells in the sand. You pick one up. It curls perfectly, its chambers widening in balance. You hold it in your hand, okay? Then, in the dream, the shell becomes a staircase. You begin to climb, okay? Each step spirals outward, proportioned in the same way as the shell. You are climbing geometry. You are walking balance. This is the golden ratio at work. A pattern borrowed from nature, repeated in dream. Science, too, finds traces of this. Studies of visual perception show that the human mind responds to certain proportions with ease. We prefer rectangles shaped near the golden ratio. We linger on images balanced by it. It feels familiar, as though our brains were tuned to the same rule. Dreams may seem irrational, but they lean into these same preferences. A corridor too narrow feels wrong. A room too wide feels strange, but a scene that echoes natural proportion feels dreamlike yet calming. The golden ratio is a comfort woven into imagination. Think of galaxies. Their spirals curl outward in ratios that echo the same rule. Stars whirl in balance, vast yet familiar. Now think of your thoughts. They, too, spiral outward, expanding from a center of memory into imagination, into dream. The galaxy and the mind both carry balance within. There is mystery in this repetition. Why should seashells, sunflowers, galaxies, and dreams all share the same quiet rule? Perhaps because the golden ratio is the most efficient way to grow, to arrange, to unfold dreams, though not bound by physics. Borrow this efficiency. They feel balanced because the brain prefers balance. They feel harmonious because harmony lives in nature. Pause again. Imagine walking along a beach in a dream. The waves leave shells in the sand. You pick one up. It curls perfectly, its chambers widening in balance. You hold it in your hand. Then, in the dream, the shell becomes a staircase. You begin to climb. Each step spirals outward, proportioned in the same way as the shell. You are climbing geometry. You are walking balance. This is how the golden ratio slips quietly into sleep. The ratio is not rigid. It does not demand perfection, but it hums like a background note, guiding growth, guiding thought, guiding imagination. When a dream feels strangely beautiful, strangely balanced, it may be because it has borrowed from this universal rule. Even memory follows balance. When you recall your life, certain moments expand, others shrink, but the pattern feels natural, as though each chamber of memory was spiraling outward in proportion. The golden ratio is not just in shells or stars, it is in how you recall yourself, and so dreams echo this proportion. Not because they must, but because the brain is nature, and nature always leans toward harmony. The golden ratio is imagination's quiet backbone. It shapes the corridors you walk, the faces you meet, the spirals you climb. It shapes the balance you feel. Even in the strangest dream, from balance, the story flows naturally into rhythm. For beyond ratio, nature is also waves, tides that rise and fall. Brainwaves that drift and deepen. The golden ratio of imagination leads you here, too. The next pattern, the next repetition. Waves that move through water and sleep. Asterisk, the golden ratio is balance. Spirals and fractals are structure. But nature is not only about shape, it is also about rhythm. It is also about movement. Now, in dreams, you feel that rhythm most clearly. Waves move through you, as they move through oceans, as they move through tides, as they move through air. You are carried by waves when you sleep. Imagine standing by the shore. The sea breathes in, then out, waves advancing and retreating with a steady rhythm. The pull of the moon, the turn of the earth, the deep gravity of celestial bodies all combine to move water. Now imagine lying in bed. Your brain, too, is full of tides. Electrical currents rise and fall. Theta waves, alpha waves, delta waves. Each stage of sleep carries its own rhythm. They are not random. They are tides within you. The same pattern that moves oceans moves your mind. Science sees this connection. Electrodes placed on the scalp reveal waves drifting across the brain. When you are awake, they move quickly, choppy, and alert, like wind across a restless sea. When you drift into sleep, the waves slow. First gentle ripples, then deeper swells. By the time you fall into deep sleep, the waves are long and slow, rising and falling like tides in calm water. Your thoughts are boats on this ocean, carried wherever the waves decide to go. Pause and imagine your brain as a coastline. At its edges, neurons spark like lights in distant houses. Waves of electricity sweep through, lighting them in rhythm. Some fire in clusters, others fall silent, waiting for the tide to return. This is not chaos. It is pattern. Titian. It is the wave of sleep moving through you. Dreams rise on these tides. When brain waves shift, images surface. When the waves deepen, dreams dissolve into silence. When they quicken again, the vivid dream returns. Sleep is not one state. It is a cycle of waves, shallow, too deep, deep, too shallow, over and over again. Each night, the ocean outside and the brain within both follow this rule. Think again of the sea. Its surface is never still. Wind may stir ripples. Storms may raise swells. But even in calm, tides shift quietly. The brain, too, is never still. Even in deepest sleep, it is alive with rhythm. Its waves never stop. They only change their speed. The body breathes. The heart beats. The brain waves move. Together, they create the quiet music of rest. There is comfort in this, 'cause it means you are never separate from the world. When you dream, you are not inventing rhythm. You are joining it. You are part of the tide, part of the wave, part of the endless rise and fall. Pause once more. Imagine yourself drifting on water. You do not need to swim. The waves carry you. They rise beneath you, fall beneath you, cradling you in rhythm. This is what sleep is. The brain carries you gently, wave after wave, into deeper stillness. You need not control it. You need only float in science. These waves are given names. Alpha waves in calm wakefulness, theta waves in drifting twilight, delta waves in deep sleep, beta and gamma waves in wakeful thought. But in feeling, they are simply tides. One set carries you into sleep. Another carries you deeper. Another lifts you into dreams vivid with imagery. Another returns you to waking light. You are moved between them without effort, without knowing. Okay? The tides do the work. Dreams sometimes take this rhythm literally. You may dream of oceans, of rivers, of rain falling in steady patterns. You may hear waves and dream, though no real ocean is near. Your brain borrows the image of water because it feels the rhythm inside. The ocean outside is an echo of the ocean within. Consider the connection further. The moon pulls the sea. Its gravity shapes tides. And the moon also shapes sleep. Its phases influence circadian rhythm. Its light signals rest or waking. The body and the sea both obey the moon. You are tidal too. There is humility in this, 'cause it means even in the privacy of sleep, you are still part of the cosmos. Your brain waves echo tides. Your body echoes gravity. Your dreams echo water. You are not apart. You are continuous. Pause and imagine tonight. You drift into sleep. At first, thoughts scatter like ripples. Then the ripples widen, stretching into slow waves. Your mind drifts deeper, like a boat carried offshore. Hours pass. The waves shift again, lifting you into dreams, pulling you into colors and images. The tide carries you back and forth, again and again. By morning, you will have crossed these inner seas many times. The patient pace of waves teaches you to trust. You do not need to control sleep. You do not need to command dreams. You are carried, as the sea is carried, as the tide is carried, as the moon is carried. Sleep is the ocean of the mind. Dreams are its waves, and from waves comes another pattern, the circle, K. For every tide returns, every night repeats, every orbit brings you back again. The brain loops like the sea. Planets circle stars. Atoms circle their centers. Dreams carry you in circles without end, and so, from waves, we drift naturally into circles. Asterisk, the wave rises and falls, but its rhythm is incomplete without the circle. For the circle is the oldest, the most enduring pattern in nature. Every orbit, every cycle, every repetition is a circle traced in time. And in your dreams, you walk them to imagine a dream where you wander through a town. The streets turn upon themselves. You walk forward, yet somehow you return to the same square, the same fountain, the same corner. You cannot escape the loop. It feels strange, but familiar. This is the circle. Your brain is not trapping you. It is repeating. It is drawing upon the same pattern that planets follow, that electrons obey, that seasons trace. You are moving in circles without end. Nature adores the circle. The earth spins on its axis, rotating in an endless turn. It orbits the sun. The sun orbits the galaxy. The galaxy itself turns with countless others. At the other extreme, atoms spin with electrons circling their cores. At every scale, the circle returns. It is nature's favorite path, because it is the path that never ends. Your body knows this rhythm too. The heartbeat is a circle contract. Relax, again and again. Breath is a circle. Inhale, exhale, again and again. Sleep is a circle. Light, too deep, dream to stillness, again and again through the night. Your life itself is lived in loops. Days repeating, seasons turning, years circling back with familiar skies. Dreams borrow this endlessly. They circle because you are circle. Pause and imagine walking in a dream forest. The trees repeat. The path curves. No matter how far you walk, you return. It feels uncanny, but also inevitable. It is the same inevitability that brings summer after winter, morning after night, full moon after new. Circles are not traps. They are promises. They are nature saying, this will return. Science calls this recurrence a cycle. The sleep cycle itself is circular. You drift down into deep rest, rise into dream, wake for a moment, then sink again. 4 or 5 circles in a single night. Your mind loops, and the loops sustains you. Without circles, there would be no rhythm. Without rhythm, there would be no life. Even in memory, the circle repeats. You revisit old moments, not once, but many times. You walk the corridors of your past, looping around joy, around loss, around longing. Dreams recycle these loops. They bring back familiar faces, familiar places, familiar emotions. Each one returns like a season. The circle of memory becomes the circle of dream. There is comfort in this repetition, because it reminds you that nothing is ever entirely gone. It returns in new form, but always recognizable. The ocean tide leaves. The shore, but always comes back. The sun sets, but always rises. The dream ends, but always begins again. You are never lost in circles. You are held by them. Pause again and imagine planets in space, silent, glittering, each moving in its circle. Never stopping, never escaping. The circle is not prison. It is balance. It is the natural return. Your dreams obey the same law. You may walk corridors that repeat, but you are not trapped. You are circling a truth, coming back to it until it feels whole. Even creativity follows. Circles. An idea arises. You explore it. You move away. You return again from another angle. Art is built on circles of effort. Music repeats refrains. Stories circle back to beginnings, and dreams are stories told in circles. You meet a stranger, but it is also an old friend. You walk a road, but it leads back to where you started. Wake, and tomorrow you will dream again. The circle does not end. The human mind loves novelty, but it also craves return. Patterns that come back are soothing. Familiarity is safety. This is why recurring dreams happen. The brain circles back to the same imagery again and again, as though walking a path worn into its soil. These circles are not accidents. They are reflections of how the universe works. Look at the moon. Grows, it shrinks, it vanishes, it returns. Each cycle predictable, each circle endless. Dreams echo this. You may dream of the moon itself, or of cycles of events repeating. You may dream of climbing and descending, of losing and regaining, of dying and waking. The dream follows the moon's lesson. All things repeat, all things circle. Pause once more. Imagine floating in space, the earth turning slowly beneath you. It spins endlessly, yet you are calm. Its circle is steady, never rushing, never failing. So too with your sleep. Your dreams turn, your thoughts loop, your nights circle back into day. There is no urgency, only return. The circle is the promise that time itself repeats. It comforts you with rhythm. It assures you that what is gone will come again. Tells you that endings are only pauses, never final. And so, when you find yourself circling in dreams, you are not lost. You are joining the same path as stars, as seasons, as cells. As seas dot, you are part of circles without end. And from circles, another pattern arises. Not spirals, not fractals, not ratios, but growth. Because circles, when stretched forward, become cycles of becoming. Leaves unfold, dreams unfold, ideas unfold, each part growing from the last dot. This is the next pattern. It's the rhythm of growth. Asterisk circles return again and again. They promise rhythm. They assure you of balance. But nature does not only repeat, it also unfolds. It grows, stretches forward, adding new without discarding the old. This is the pattern of growth. And it is written as clearly in dreams as it is in forests and fields. Pause and imagine a leaf. It does not appear at once. It unfolds from a bud, tiny at first, then larger. Each stage carrying the shape of the whole. This is growth, a pattern of repetition that stretches forward. Each step connected, each step expanding. Your dreams unfold. This way too. The scene begins, then develops, then branches. Moments add to moments, never random, always carrying the rhythm of growth. Think of vines on a wall. They climb slowly, anchoring themselves, stretching tendrils outward. Each tendril splits into smaller parts, covering more and more of the surface. Now, think of thoughts as you sleep. One image grows into another. A face becomes a house. The house becomes a road. The road becomes a forest. Each dream scene is like a vine, stretching into new directions. Covering the walls of imagination, growth is how dreams move forward. In forests, trees obey the same law. A seed splits, a stem rises, branches divide, leaves unfold. Each stage repeats the same rhythm, but always adds more. This is not a static circle. It is a spiral stretched outward. It is growth, and in the brain, neurons grow in the same way. Branches divide into smaller branches. Connections multiply. Networks expand. The forest of the brain and the forest of the world both echo the same pattern. Pause and imagine yourself inside a dream of growth. You stand before a tree. Its branches stretch outward, filling the sky. Then the branches themselves become paths. You walk along them, and each path splits again. Each leads to another scene, another image, another possibility. The dream is not random. It is growing, it is repeating the pattern of nature. Science shows growth patterns in mathematics. Phyllotaxis, the arrangement of leaves on a stem, follows predictable rules. Sunflowers, pine cones, ferns all place new parts at angles that maximize space, that allow harmony of unfolding. The brain borrows this language. When you dream, your imagination arranges growth in similar ways. Scenes unfold naturally, balanced without effort, because the same rules whisper beneath growth is not only expansion. It is also memory. Stage carries the past within it. A tree holds its rings. A shell holds its chambers. A dream holds echoes of the day. As you drift into sleep, your memories grow into stories. They unfurl like leaves, each one built on the stem of experience. This is why dreams often carry fragments of waking life. They are buds, unfurling into new shapes. They are growth in motion. Pause again and imagine seeds falling on soil. Some sprout, some wither. But those that grow repeat the same rhythm: stem, leaf, branch, flower. So, too, with ideas in sleep. Not every thought becomes dream, but those that do grow forward. They repeat themselves, adding new layers until they blossom into full dreamscapes. The rules of nature guide both seed and thought. Even rivers show patterns of growth. They branch into deltas, expanding outward. Each new channel carries part of the whole. They repeat, but they also spread. They grow into networks. Your brain mirrors this. Dreams spread like rivers across valleys, branching into streams of thought. Each one new, yet connected. Growth is everywhere. River, seed, neuron, dream. There is comfort in this pattern, because it assures you that nothing is wasted. Even in dreams, every moment becomes part of the whole. Each branch, each leaf, each idea is carried forward into the unfolding. Dreams grow the way nature grows, slowly, patiently, yet always expanding. Pause and think of your own life. It, too, is growth. K to adult, day to night, moment to memory. The pattern repeats. You unfold, just as leaves unfold, just as dreams unfold. Your growth written into time. Dreams remind you of this truth, because they show you how ideas grow. They take the small bud of a memory and turn it into forests. They take a single thought and turn it into endless branching corridors. They are not random, They are growth. From growth, another pattern arises. Symmetry, because as things unfold, they often balance. Faces mirror themselves. Leaves mirror one another. Dreams mirror their own images. The next chapter belongs to this reflection. Symmetry. In dreams, asterisk growth carries life forward, branching into leaves, stretching into rivers, expanding into dreams. But with growth comes balance. Nature often unfolds in symmetry, mirroring itself, balancing one side against another. And when you dream, symmetry returns. Pause and imagine a butterfly. Its wings mirror each other, each side a reflection of the other's pattern. The design is not random. It's asymmetry, the rule of balance written in flight. Asterisk. Now imagine a face. Two eyes, two ears, a nose at the center, a mouth below. The face is a mirror, and your brain is deeply attuned to it. In dreams, faces often appear, sometimes familiar, sometimes strange, yet nearly always balanced. Even when they shift and change, symmetry remains. The brain loves symmetry. Evolution trained it to recognize balance quickly. Symmetry often means health, safety, stability. Asymmetry, by contrast, signals danger or something out of place. Your mind carries this preference into sleep. Dreamscapes may twist into the surreal, but symmetry often underlies them. A house with matching windows, a forest where trees align, a corridor that mirrors itself to infinity. Dreams may be strange, but they are not without order. Symmetry keeps them calm. Pause and imagine yourself inside a dream corridor. Doors line both sides, each spaced evenly, each a reflection of the other. You walk forward, and the repetition is soothing. Even as the dream changes, the balance remains. This is symmetry at work. It calms the dreamer. It reassures the mind. Nature provides endless examples. Snowflakes fall with mirrored arms. No two identical, yet all symmetrical. Leaves unfold in pairs. Crystals form in lattice. Planets themselves are round, balanced in all directions. Dreams borrowed these shapes. Key, you may dream of snow, each flake delicate and balanced. Key, you may dream of patterns, intricate and mirrored. Key, even in chaos, the mind creates order. Science shows that neural networks themselves exhibit symmetry. The brain's hemispheres mirror each other. Its folds often repeat. Even in activity, patterns of firing reflect across regions. It is no surprise, then, that dreams follow this rule. They are made from the same networks, the same mirrored architecture. When you see balance in sleep, you are seeing your own biology expressed. Symmetry also appears in recurring dream places. You may visit a house that mirrors itself, a staircase that seems the same on either side, square where every building looks alike. These landscapes feel strange, but also familiar. The brain is making balance visible. It is mirroring itself outward. Pause once more. Imagine standing before a pool of water. The surface is calm. Above is the sky. Below, in reflection, the same sky appears. It feels doubled, yet balanced. Dreams use this same imagery. Rooms mirrored, faces repeated, landscapes doubled. The mirror is a comfort. It assures you of order. Symmetry also appears in time. Streams often replay events, but altered slightly, mirrored, shifted, reversed. A familiar street runs the other way. A conversation plays backward. Face is familiar, but inverted somehow. This is symmetry in motion. The dream is balancing itself, flipping the image, repeating it with reflection. There is comfort in symmetry, because it tells you the dream has order. It tells you the mind seeks balance, even when imagination wanders. The house with two doors, the face with two eyes, the forest with two rows of trees, all reassure you, you are not lost in chaos. You are held in balance. Symmetry also appears in the body. Your hands mirror each other. Your lungs balance one another. Your heartbeat flows through both sides. The body is a system of balance. The dream body repeats this. Even when you fly, even when you change shape, there is symmetry. Wings appear in pairs. Movements balance. The dream respects the rule of nature. Pause. Again, imagine tonight you dream of standing in a great hall. Columns rise on either side. Each is matched by another across the room. The ceiling arches in perfect proportion. The scene feels peaceful, though nothing in the waking world matches it. The peace comes from symmetry. The brain knows this balance, creates it, even in sleep. From symmetry flows repetition. For what mirrors once, mirrors again, or repeats. in space, repeats in time, and so the meditation drifts forward from balance of shape to rhythm of sound, to the music of repetition that hums quietly in nature, and hums again in dream. Asterisk symmetry shows you balance, but balance is not enough on its own. Balance must move, and when it moves, it repeats. This is the rhythm of nature, and in sleep, it becomes the rhythm of dream. Pause and imagine the sea. Waves rise, fall, and rise again. Each wave is different, yet the pattern is the same. It repeats, and the repetition is music. Now imagine the forest. Birdsong echoes through branches. The same call comes again, then again. Not identical, but repeating, familiar. These repetitions are not noise. They are comfort. They are the music of life. In dreams, you hear this music too. You may dream of waves, or of voices repeating. You may hear footsteps in rhythm, or see doors lined one after another. Repetition is everywhere in dream. It builds its calm, its familiarity, its subtle sense of belonging. The body itself is repetition. Your heart beats again and again. Your breath rises and falls in cycles. Each moment of waking life is layered with these quiet rhythms. In sleep, these rhythms continue. The brain's waves rise and fall, repeating in cycles. Dreams echo the pattern, turning rhythm into imagery, into sound, into movement. Pause and listen inward. Your heart keeps time. Your breath follows it. Together, they form the original lullaby. Even in dream, you are carried by this music. No composer is needed. It is built into you. It is built into nature. It is the same rhythm as tides, the same as seasons, the same as the turning of earth itself. Repetition is not boredom. It is meaning. A bird repeats its song to declare its place. A tide repeats to balance the moon. Peat repeats to sustain life. Dreams repeat for the same reason, to anchor memory, to calm the mind, to remind you of what belongs. When a dream image returns again and again, it is not mistake, it is pattern. It is the music of repetition at work. Consider lullabies, soft songs sung to soothe children. Their power comes not from complexity, but from repetition. The same notes again, the same rhythm again, until rest arrives. Dreams do the same. They repeat corridors, repeat faces, repeat images. The calm comes from recurrence. Pause again. Imagine tonight you dream of rain. It falls steadily. Each drop a note, each rhythm repeating. It is not storm, not chaos, but music. You listen as you sleep, and the repetition carries you deeper. This is the same music the earth plays everywhere. Rainfall, heartbeat, tide. Song.science explains repetition in the brain. Neurons strengthen their connections through patterns that repeat. The more often a thought fires, the more easily it returns. Memory itself is built upon repetition, and dreams are laboratories of memory. They repeat because repetition is how the brain learns. It is how it calms itself. It is how it heals. The music of repetition is not only comfort, it is function. Think again of waves. They rise endlessly, never tired, never final. Each is new, but each belongs to the same rhythm. Dreams rise endlessly too. Scenes change, but patterns return. The brain repeats, and in that repetition is both structure and peace. Repetition is not confinement. It is freedom through rhythm. A circle that returns is not a trap. It is a promise. A song that repeats is not dull. It is soothing. Dreams that repeat are not broken. They are following nature's music. Pause once more. Imagine a drum. It beats slowly, then faster, then slows again. It holds your attention, not because each strike is new, but because the rhythm continues. Dreams are drums. They strike images again and again. They return to places again and again. Their power comes from the music of return. Even time itself is repetition. Days follow days, seasons follow seasons. Years return with familiar skies, and you, in your life, find meaning in what repeats. Holidays, rituals, memories, all are built on cycles. The dream only reflects this. It is part of the same law. To repeat is to belong. To repeat is to endure. There is comfort in knowing this, that your sleep is not chaos, that your dreams are not meaningless. They are echoes of the same music that guides the earth, the same rhythm that has always guided life. The music of repetition is the heartbeat of dream. And from this music flows another question. Why does the brain love familiar shapes? Why does it return to spirals, to circles, to symmetry, to patterns again and again? Because recognition is safety, because familiarity is peace, and because the mind, like nature, is built to repeat. Asterisk repetition is comfort. It assures you that the world will return, that waves will rise again, that seasons will follow their course. But comfort also lies in recognition, not just in rhythm, but in shape. The brain loves familiar forms because they whisper of safety. They remind you of belonging, and when you sleep, when you dream, your brain brings these shapes with it. Pause and imagine a circle. It is not threatening. It is whole. It is complete. The brain has always trusted circles, the roundness of the horizon, the fullness of the moon, the shape of fruit that can nourish. In dreams, circles return. You walk in loops. You see moons glowing. You stand in round rooms. These are not accidents. They are the mind recycling safety. Think of symmetry. A face balanced on both sides is easier to recognize. It suggests health, trust, familiarity. The brain learns this instinct early, and it never forgets. In dreams, faces often appear balanced, even when they shift or blur. The mind cannot help it. It reaches for symmetry, because symmetry has always meant safety. The brain is a pattern seeker. It evolved this way. To survive, it had to recognize the outline of predator in tall grass, the curve of fruit among leaves, the ripple of water in a still pond. Patterns meant knowledge. Knowledge meant survival. And now, even in sleep, even in dream, the same instinct remains. You see shapes, you find meaning in them. You recycle familiarity into imagination. Pause again. Okay. Imagine tonight you dream of walking into a room. It is unfamiliar, yet it feels calm. Why? Because its shapes are familiar. The square of the floor, the symmetry of the windows, the circle of a lamp above your brain is soothed because the architecture echoes shapes it already knows. Dreams build their peace out of familiar geometry. Even when dreams are strange, they are not entirely alien. A mountain may rise impossibly high, but it is still a mountain. A face may shift into another, but it is still a face. The mind bends reality, but it bends it along the lines of recognition. The dream feels surreal, yet stable, because familiar shapes hold it together. Science confirms this preference. Experiments show that people respond more quickly, more comfortably to shapes they already know. Circles, spirals, symmetrical patterns. Even infants prefer them. This instinct is ancient. Kid has guided every generation. In dreams, being woven from the same brain, inherit the same instinct. Your sleep is filled with what your ancestors once trusted. Shapes of fruit, shapes of faces, shapes of stars. Think of stars themselves, patterns traced into constellations. Humans across millennia saw shapes in the sky. Hunters, bears, birds. Teach, the stars are random, but the brain cannot help but connect them. Dreams work the same. Scattered thoughts, scattered memories, yet the brain draws shapes. It finds meaning in what repeats. It turns the random into the familiar. The comfort of the familiar shape is the comfort of survival. Pause once more. Imagine water rippling in a dream. The circles widen outward. Its pattern is calm, predictable, safe. The image reassures you. Even though it is only imagined, your brain trusts ripples because they follow natural law. Dreams return to them because they soothe the dreamer. The brain does not cling to the familiar out of laziness. It does so out of wisdom. To rely on what is known is to build stability. And in the drifting currents of dream, stability is what keeps you afloat. This is why recurring dreams often involve familiar places, a childhood home, a school, a path you know. They may change, shift, warp, but the underlying shape remains. The mind repeats it because repetition is safety. Even the neurons themselves reflect this truth. They branch like trees, split like rivers, curl like shells. They echo shapes that already exist in the world, and the brain loves them because it recognizes itself in them. Dreams are built from this recognition. The shapes you see in sleep are not foreign. They are reflections of what has always been. There is comfort in this knowledge because it means you are never lost in dream. No matter how strange the imagery, it is built from familiar forms. No matter how surreal the story, it is anchored in recognition. The spiral, the circle, the symmetry, the branch all belong to you. They are safe. They are known. And from this comfort, the story flows naturally to its source. For if the brain loves shapes, it is because the brain itself is shaped. Its neurons are not random. They follow the same blueprints as rivers, as lightning, as roots. The next step in the journey is to see the brain not only as dreamer, but as nature itself, to see neurons as patterns. Nature's blueprint written inside you. Asterisk, the brain loves familiar shapes because it is built from them. It is not separate from nature. It is nature. Its blueprint is drawn from the same rules that shape rivers, the same rhythms that guide forests, the same sparks that light storms. Look closely. The neuron is a tree. The neuron is lightning. The neuron is river. The neuron is root. The blueprint of your mind is the blueprint of the world. Pause and imagine a single neuron. It has a body, a central cell where life gathers. From this body extend branches, dendrites reaching outward like arms of a forest. From the other side, a long axon stretches, ending in smaller branches again. It is a pattern of division, branch into branch, twig into twig. It is fractal. It is natural. When millions gather, they form forests, forests of thought, forests of dream. Science shows this with striking clarity. Images of neurons look like lightning, okay? They spark, branch, divide. Electric currents run through them. It's just as lightning runs through storm clouds. The similarity is not metaphor, it is blueprint. Nature has one language, and it repeats itself at every scale. Your thoughts are storms in miniature. Your neurons are forests inside you. Pause again. Imagine drifting into sleep. Your brain's neurons begin to fire in rhythm. One sparks, another follows, branches of light spreading outward. You see this in dream as corridors, as rivers, as networks of paths. You are walking the architecture of your own mind. Dreams are neurons imagining themselves. Think of rivers. They begin as trickles in highlands. They join, divide, spread into deltas that reach the sea. Neurons do the same. A signal begins, travels outward, splits into countless branches, reaches distant cells. When you dream, you may see rivers winding, branching into smaller streams. It is not random. It is blueprint. It is your brain showing you itself. Roots echo this too. A tree digs downward. Roots branch into roots, seeking water, seeking connection. The pattern is identical. Roots mirror rivers. Rivers mirror neurons. Neurons mirror lightning. It is all the same rule. The blueprint repeats again and again in soil, in sky, in thought. Pause once more. Imagine lightning striking, single bolt, then branches splitting in jagged paths across the sky. It is fast, bright, unstoppable. Now, imagine neurons firing. It's the same branches, but smaller, slower, quieter. It's the same geometry, the same rule. When you dream of storms, of electric skies, of flashes of light, you may be seeing the echo of your neurons. You may be dreaming the blueprint. Science calls this efficiency. Branching patterns allow maximum reach with minimal energy. Trees grow this way to gather light. Rivers spread this way to drain land. Lungs branch this way to gather air. Neurons branch this way to share thought. The rule is simple. Connect as much as possible with as little as possible. Nature loves efficiency, and neurons are its masterpiece. Dreams borrowed this blueprint. They feel vast because neurons connect vastness. They feel branching because neurons branch. They feel endless because networks of neurons are endless in possibility. When you walk through repeating dream corridors, you are walking your own dendrites. When you drift down branching dream paths, you are drifting through your own neural forest. The brain does not only build dreams, it is the dream. Pause again. Okay. Imagine yourself as small as a thought, wandering along the branches of neurons. Signals flicker past you, like fireflies in a dark forest. Each light is a memory, a sound, a face. You walk deeper, and the branches only multiply. This is the labyrinth of the brain. This is the architecture of imagination. The blueprint of neurons is also the blueprint of memory, because memory is not stored in one place. It is stored in connections, each branch meeting another, each path strengthening with use, each repetition, carving itself deeper. Dreams walk these paths. They follow the blueprint of memory. They activate connections, retrace branches, illuminate forgotten twigs. This is why dreams feel familiar, yet strange. They are made of real branches, but rearranged. The beauty of this blueprint is that it belongs to nature itself. The brain is not separate from rivers or roots. It is one more instance of the same pattern. It is the universe repeating itself inside you. When you dream, you are not only imagining, you are reflecting nature's blueprint. You are rivers. You are lightning. You are roots. You are tree. You are sky. Pause once more. Imagine lying down to sleep tonight. Your eyes close. Your neurons begin their rhythm. Electricity flows through branches of light. The network glows, and in that glow, dreams arise. The blueprint is alive. It carries you, connects you, reminds you that you belong, and from neurons, another pattern unfolds. Not only their branches, but the way memory itself coils, because memories are not linear, okay? They spiral back, return, repeat. The next chapter belongs to this spiral. The spiral of memory, echoed in dreams. Asterisk, the blueprint of neurons is branching, but memory is not only branch. It is also coil. It loops, it circles, it spirals back upon itself, and in dreams. You walk these spirals, pause, and think of how you remember. You do not recall life in straight lines. You return to moments. You revisit them from different angles. The first day of school, a childhood room, long past conversation. They do not vanish. They spiral back. They return again and again. Time familiar, each time slightly changed. Memory is spiral. The nautilus shell shows you this truth. Each chamber expands from the last, but all remain connected, all curling outward. Your memories grow in the same way. One year leads to the next, yet all remain linked. all part of the spiral. Dreams follow this geometry. They take one memory, then spiral outward, connecting it to others, blending times, blurring places. You dream of your childhood home, but inside it are people from today. You dream of a school, but it coils into a city you live in now. The spiral of memory does not respect straight lines. It returns, it folds, it expands. Science confirms this. The hippocampus, the brain's memory center, is itself spiral-shaped. Structure coils like a seashell. Its rhythm follows loops. It replays experiences in cycles, strengthening connections each time. Memory is spiral, not only in feeling, but in anatomy. When you dream, you are walking the spiral halls of your hippocampus. You are tracing its loops, its coils of recollection. Pause. Again. Imagine drifting into a dream. At first, you are walking down a road from childhood. You smell familiar trees. You hear a voice you once knew. But as you turn the corner, you are older. The setting has shifted. A memory from another time curls into this one. You keep walking, and the spiral continues. Each loop adds a new layer. Each layer belongs to the whole. You are not lost. You are spiraling through memory. The spiral explains why dreams repeat fragments. You may dream the same scene again and again, not because your mind is stuck, but because memory itself is spiral. It circles back, carrying you near familiar points, but never in exactly the same way. Each return is different. Each return is another loop outward. Nature mirrors this everywhere. Galaxies spiral outward. Stars carried in great arcs. Whirlpools spiral inward. Water folding into itself. Its plants spiral in unfurling, each leaf angled from the last. Your memories belong to this same pattern. They expand and return, forward and back, never ending. Dreams are where you feel this most. You sense the return, but also the difference. You spiral without noticing. Pause once more. Imagine sitting in a dream classroom. The teacher is one you remember, yet the lesson is one you never had. Friends appear beside you, but they belong to another stage of life. The room itself curls with corridors that should not exist. This is memory spiraling. It's not repeating exactly, but coiling into new forms. Always returning, always reshaping. There is comfort in this, because it means no memory is ever lost. Even when forgotten in waking life, it remains as part of the spiral. Retrieve them, reshape them, carry them back. The spiral of memory is the spiral of belonging. It reminds you that you are made of every past moment and that none has vanished. They are all chambers in your shell. Science calls this replay. As you sleep, the brain replays experiences, strengthening the connections, laying them deeper into memory. But replay is never straight. It bends, it spirals, adds new links, mixing fragments together. This is why dreams weave such strange tapestries, They are replays curling into spirals. Pause again. Imagine tonight you dream of walking through your old house. The hallway is the same, but at the end is a door that never existed. You open it, Inside is a place from another part of life. The spiral has connected them. The dream feels strange, but natural, because memory always coils. It does not separate, it links. Even waking life follows this rhythm. Songs bring back times you thought forgotten. Scents return you instantly to childhood. These are spiral paths of memory, curled inward, waiting to be followed again. Dreams only intensified this. They string together echoes, curling you around past and present, until you are both child and adult at once, both then and now. The spiral of memory is a bridge across time. There is humility in recognizing this, because it shows you that your life is not linear. It is layered, curled, spiraled. Every stage is connected. Every stage expands from the center, and in dreams, you walk those spirals again and again. From this spiral comes the next step. For if dreams coil memory together, they also copy the world outside. Not only inward recollection, but outward reflection. Dreams borrow mountains, borrow rivers, borrow skies. The spiral of memory leads naturally to imitation. To when dreams copy the world, asterisk memory spirals inward, but dreams also reach outward. They borrow from the world around you, copying its shapes, its landscapes, its quiet rules. Dreams are not built from nothing. They are built from the same vocabulary as the earth. Pause and imagine you dream of a mountain. It rises high, it slopes. Familiar, its peak capped with snow. Perhaps you have never climbed it. Perhaps you have only seen it in passing. Yet the mountain feels real. It has weight, presence, gravity. This is because your brain has borrowed, it has taken the geometry of mountains, stored through memory, and placed it in your dream. The mountain in your dream is not invention. It is echo. The same happens with rivers. You may dream of water winding through valleys. Its sound steady, its banks lush. You may not know the river, but you know rivers. You have seen them or felt the rhythm of water. Your mind copies this. It recreates the outside world within. Dreams are mirrors, though imperfect, distorted, sometimes strange. But beneath distortion is copying. The dream borrows. Think of the sky in dreams. Clouds drift, stars shine, moons glow. They may be too many or too bright or strangely close, but they are still sky. The brain does not invent them entirely. It recalls the real world and bends it. The dream sky is a copy, familiar but new. Pause and imagine tonight you dream of walking in a city. Buildings rise on either side. Some you'll recognize, others you do not. But they follow the same rules of architecture. Walls, windows, doors. Your brain copies what it knows. Even when it distorts, it cannot escape the language of reality. Dreams are written in Earth's grammar. Science confirms this. Studies of dream content show that most images come from daily life. People, places, objects, they return in altered form. The brain recombines them, but the ingredients are real. Dreams are collages. They cut and paste the world, you know? Sometimes in order, sometimes in nonsense, but always borrowing. Even when dreams seem impossible, they are built from the possible. Flying may feel surreal, but it borrows from birds. Endless staircases may feel strange, but they borrow from architecture. Talking animals may feel bizarre, but they borrow from voices and faces, you know. Dreams do not invent out of void. They echo. Pause once more. Imagine lying in a field in a dream. The grass moves in wind. The sound is familiar. The detail is exact. You may not have been in this field before, but you have been in fields. Your brain knows the pattern. It copies. It rearranges. It offers it to you again. This is why dreams feel both real and unreal, because they are both. The copying is not exact. The brain is not a perfect architect. It bends, distorts, changes scale. A mountain becomes impossibly tall. A house holds endless rooms. A face blends with another, but even in distortion, recognition remains. The mountain is still mountain. The house is still house. The face is still face. The dream copies the world, then edits. This is how memory and perception meet. Memories spiral inward. Perceptions feed outward. Dreams sit between them, borrowing from both, combining into landscapes that feel real yet strange. Dreams are collages of earth and self. There is comfort in this, because it means that even in your most private nights, you are still connected to the world. The mountain in dream is the mountain of earth. The water in dream is water you have known. The faces in dream are faces you have met. You are never apart. Even in sleep, you belong to the world. Pause again. Imagine tonight you dream of rain. It falls steadily. The sound is clear. You wake and it is dry outside, but the sound was still real. A copy of rain once heard, carried forward, offered. Again in dream. This is the persistence of the world inside you. You carry it, you copy it, you dream it. Science calls this day residue. The details of waking life bleed into dreams. But it is more than residue. It is structure. Dreams are scaffolds built from real-world parts. The scaffolding bends, but it does not vanish. Dreams are the earth retold in imagination. Even recurring dream landscapes reflect this. You may dream of the same house, the same street, again and again. You may never have been there in waking life, yet it feels familiar because it is built from fragments. A door from one house, a window from another, a stairwell from memory, a pattern from nature. The collage feels like home because it is built from the real dreams. Copy not only shapes, but patterns. They borrow the spiral, the fractal, the symmetry. They use the same designs as leaves and shells, as rivers and skies. The language of dreams is the language of earth. There is humility in knowing this, because it reminds you that you are never dreaming alone. Your mind is borrowing from a world that is always with you. Dreams are not escape. They are echo. They are reflection. The world you walk by day becomes the world you walk by night. And from this copying, another truth emerges. Not only does the brain copy, it repeats, because repetition is comfort. What is familiar reassures. And so, dreams return again and again to the same places, the same sounds, the same faces. The next chapter belongs to this comfort, to repetition itself, to why returning in dream feels like being held. Asterisk dreams copy the world, but they also repeat it, not only once, not only in fragments, but again and again. Its return is not error, it is design. Repetition is comfort. It is the quiet reassurance that nothing is ever fully lost, that what you have seen will come again, that what you have felt will return. Pause and imagine the sea. It strikes the shore, retreats, and strikes again. The rhythm is steady, endless, and deeply calming. You do not grow tired of waves. You expect them. Their return is comfort. Dreams repeat for the same reason. A place you visit again and again. A corridor you have walked before. A face you see night after night. It is not mistake. It is wave. It is tide. It's comfort in recurrence. Consider the forest. Birds call again and again. Their song is not new each time. It repeats because repetition signals life, signals presence. The forest would feel empty without it. So too with the rhythms of dream. They return to fill silence, to assure you of continuity. The body itself is built on repetition. Diet beats not once, but again and again. Breath rises not once, but forever repeats. Without return, there is no life. Dreams follow this same law. They repeat because repetition sustains. Each cycle strengthens memory. Each return carries meaning. Pause again. Imagine walking into a dream house. You have seen it before. You know the rooms. Perhaps they shift slightly. A new corridor, a different stair. But the structure is familiar. The familiarity calms you. You may even wake with a strange sense of homecoming, though you have never stood in this house awake. The repetition has made it yours. It has turned dream into refuge. Science observes this in memory. Repetition strengthens neural connections. The more often you recall, the more solid the memory becomes. Dreams use this same process. They repeat to reinforce, to stitch experiences more deeply into you. But beyond biology, there is comfort. The brain does not only repeat to remember, it repeats to soothe. Think of lullabies. They calm by repeating notes. They do not strive for novelty. They strive for rhythm, for familiarity, for the reassurance of return. Dreams are lullabies of the mind. Their repetitions are music, holding you through the night. Pause once more. Imagine tonight you dream of walking by the sea. Each wave is familiar. You hear them again, then again. It is not dull. It is peace. The return holds you, so too with dream imagery. Faces repeat, places return, memories circle back. Each time, the repetition itself is comfort. Even recurring emotions belong here. Dreams bring back joy, or fear, or longing, again and again. The emotions may not resolve, but they return. And the return itself is part of the rhythm. Repetition does not always solve. It soothes, it sustains. Nature proves this everywhere. The moon waxes and wanes, then waxes again. Seasons fade, then return. The sun rises, sets, and rises again. The world is built on recurrence. Dreams echo this, not by accident, but by belonging. They are part of the same design. Science shows that the sleeping brain cycles through stages, again and again. Light sleep, deep sleep, REM, 4 or 5 times a night. The cycle repeats. The structure of sleep itself is repetition, and so, naturally, dreams repeat, too. They borrow from the rhythm of sleep. Pause again. Imagine yourself in a dream corridor. You walk, and soon you realize you have walked it before. It turns again, and there is the same door, the same light. You are circling, but it does not frighten you. It comforts you. The dream holds you steady. Repetition is not mistake. 'Tis language. It is the way the brain communicates peace. It tells you, you are safe. You are still within the pattern. The world still moves as it should. There is humility in this, because it shows you that comfort lies not in novelty, but in return. That the most soothing things in life are the ones that come back. The wave, the breath, the heartbeat, the familiar dream. Each is music. Each is reassurance. And from this comfort, another mystery arises. For some dreams return not gently, but insistently. They replay night after night, always the same, always circling. These are the recurring dreams. They are not only comfort, they are question. They ask why. They demand meaning. The next chapter belongs to them, to the mystery of the recurring dream. Asterisk repetition is comfort. It calms you with return, okay? But some dreams repeat, not only to soothe, okay? Return again, again, with detailed intact, with insistence, as though trying to be understood. These are recurring dreams, okay? And they carry a quiet mystery. Pause and imagine this. Night after night, you walk the same corridor. The walls do not change. The doors remain closed. The light is the same dim glow. Each time you dream it, the details hold steady. You wake, and you wonder, why this corridor? This is the mystery of the recurring dream. Unlike ordinary dreams that shift and dissolve, recurring dreams remain. They circle back with a persistence that feels purposeful, as if the brain is rehearsing something, as if the memory of the dream itself is part of the spiral. The recurrence may last weeks or years, or even a lifetime. Science offers glimpses. Recurring dreams often reflect unresolved memories, deep emotions, persistent stresses. The brain replays them because they are not yet complete. Like a song stuck in a loop, the dream repeats until its rhythm finds resolution. But resolution is not always obvious. The dream may continue for decades, its meaning elusive. Its return itself becomes the message. Pause again. Imagine tonight you dream of water. It floods the same street again and again. You wake unsettled. Why this flood? Why this return? Perhaps it echoes fear. Perhaps it echoes memory. Perhaps it is simply the brain's way of circling emotion. until it can let go. The mystery is that you may never know for certain, and yet the dream continues. Not all recurring dreams are unsettling. Some are gentle, a familiar meadow, a childhood home, a face you see again and again. They return because the mind seeks comfort, because familiarity soothes even in sleep. Recurring dreams are not all warnings. Some are lullabies. Some are gifts of return. Think of the sea again. Its tide does not rise once and stop. It comes again and again. The rhythm itself is the point. It reminds you that you are part of a cycle. Recurring dreams remind you of the same. They say, you are within rhythm. You are within pattern. Pause once more. Imagine dreaming of a staircase. Each night you climb, but you never reach the top. It may frustrate you, but perhaps frustration is not the point. Perhaps the point is the climb itself, the persistence, the rhythm. Recurring dreams may not seek conclusion, but they may simply reflect the truth of nature, that cycles endure, that some patterns never end. Science shows that recurring dreams are linked to strong neural connections. The brain strengthens what it repeats. If a dream is vivid enough, it may etch itself into memory. The very act of remembering it makes it more likely to return. And so, recurrence builds upon itself, spiraling like memory, circling like orbit. Some recurring dreams carry universality. People across cultures report the same images: falling, flying, being chased, arriving unprepared. These patterns are not random. They are shared human rhythms, arising from the same fears, the same hopes, the same neural blueprints. Recurring dreams connect you not only to yourself, but to all who dream. Pause again. Imagine you are standing in a dream forest. Each night you return to the same clearing. The trees do not change. The path remains. The scene feels timeless. Perhaps it is not only your dream. Perhaps it is the brain borrowing from patterns that every human carries. Recurring dreams may be personal, but they are also archetypal. They belong to the species. There is humility in this, because it reminds you that even in your private nights, you are not alone. Others have dreamed the same corridors, the same floods, the same endless staircases. Dreams are personal, but patterns are shared. The recurrence connects you to something larger. Recurring dreams remind you of time itself. They are cycles like seasons, returns like tides, revolutions like planets. They do not end because nature does not end, They remind you of infinity. They whisper, life is not straight, but loop. Not final, but circular. Pause one last time. Imagine tonight you dream again of what you have dreamed before. At first, you resist, but then you notice the calm. You notice the return. You notice that the dream has become a companion. It no longer needs to be solved. It only needs to be recognized. It is rhythm. It is pattern, It is nature within you. And from here, the meditation turns outward once again. For if recurring dreams reveal the persistence of pattern, what does that say of the universe itself? Is it not also recurring? Does it not also spiral, repeat, mirror itself in galaxies, in atoms, in tides? The final chapter belongs to this truth, a universe that dreams in pattern. Asterisks from galaxies to seashells, from forest to your sleeping mind. The universe itself seems to prefer repetition, and your dreams are just one more echo of that truth. Full chapter, body, 2,000 words. Recurring dreams remind you that cycles endure. They show you that what returns in the night is part of a larger rhythm, a deeper pattern, and if you step back far enough, you begin to see that it is not only dreams, it is the universe itself that repeats. Pause and imagine a seashell. Kate's spiral is familiar, curving outward in balance. Now imagine a galaxy. Its arms curled the same way, one small, one vast, yet both shaped by the same rule. This is not accident. It is pattern. The universe is dreaming in spirals, again and again, at every scale. Think of trees, branches split into branches, leaves into veins. Now, think of neurons. Their dendrites divide, their signals spread. The forest and the brain are copies of each other. This is not a coincidence. It is blueprint. The universe is dreaming in fractals. Pause again. Imagine waves upon a shore. They rise, fall, rise again. Now imagine brainwaves in sleep. They drift slow, then quicken, then slow again. Water and mind follow the same rhythm. The universe is dreaming in waves, circles to return everywhere. Planets orbit, suns, electrons orbit, nuclei. Hearts beat, lungs expand, seasons turn. Each is circle, K. Each is repetition. The universe is dreaming in circles. Asterisk dreams are not apart from this. They are part of it. When you dream, you are not inventing new language. E. You are borrowing the universe's own. A. You are repeating its spirals, its fractals, its circles, its waves. The mind is a mirror of the cosmos that shaped it. Pause once more. Imagine tonight you fall asleep beneath stars. Your eyes close. Your brain begins to wander. And in dream, you see patterns that echo what lies above you. Galaxies spiral, stars circle, clouds repeat. You are not separate. You are cosmos in miniature, dreaming itself again. Science whispers the same truth. Mathematics describes shells and galaxies with the same equations. Fractals describe rivers and neurons alike. Physics reveals waves in both oceans and electricity. Biology shows circles in lungs and leaves. The patterns are one. The language is shared. The universe is written in repetition. Dreams remind you of this, because they, too, prefer pattern. They spiral, they branch, they repeat. They mirror faces, mirror places, mirror feelings. The brain is not random. It is patterned. And so are your nights. There is comfort in this, because it means you belong. Your dreams are not meaningless. They are part of the same rhythm that guides seas, that shapes stars, that spins galaxies. Even in the privacy of sleep, you are participating in the universe's design. Pause again. Imagine walking in a dream corridor. It repeats, it mirrors, it spirals. And then, as you notice it, you realize it is no different from the cosmos itself. Galaxies spiral the same way. Seasons repeat the same way. Life itself mirrors. Your dream is universe. The universe's dream. The ancient traditions understood this. They saw sacred geometry in nature, spirals and ratios as messages of the cosmos. They spoke of life as dream, of dream as a reflection of the whole. Modern science, without myth, still finds the same. Sees equations repeated. It sees fractals in storm and neuron. It sees circles in atom and planet. It sees the language of repetition everywhere. The myth was poetry. The science is proof. Both agree. The universe dreams in pattern. This does not end with what is seen. Even time itself may be patterned. Days repeat, histories echo, galaxies may rise and collapse, only to rise again. The universe may be infinite spiral, infinite loop, and you, in your sleep, mirror that infinity. Your dreams coil back, repeat faces, repeat places, as though you, too, carry eternity inside. Pause once more. Imagine holding a shell in your hand. Its chambers curl outward forever. Now imagine your own mind. Its memories coil the same way. The shell is cosmos. The mind is cosmos. Both are patterns. Both are repetitions. You cannot escape them. You would not want to. They are what hold you. There is humility in this truth, because it shows you that the vastness of the sky and the intimacy of a dream are not different. They are echoes. They are repetitions. They are the universe whispering itself again. And so the journey closes not with finality, but with return. For the universe itself does not end. It repeats. It circles. It spirals. Waves. Your dreams are one more cycle. One more echo. One more pattern in the endless hum. Even now, as you rest, as you drift, as you breathe, the universe dreams through you. It is not done. And neither are you.